Hi, good morning. Welcome to Lennox Lennox Webinars. My name is Jonathan Miranda, and I'm grateful that you guys are willing to spend some time with me here on this webinar. For today's session, I want to do a quick overview on the Lennox VRF Selection Software. Many customers are still having some questions, and they've been asking me for another webinar of the selection software. I know it's probably like the third time that I've done it, but I want you to still go through the session, and perhaps you can pick something new, something useful, a tip on the software that you can use for doing your selections on VRF. Now, if you don't have a copy of the selection software, I suggest you send me an email. My email is right on the screen, and that way I can send you a link for you to download a copy of the software. Just to spell it out, it's jonathan.miranda@lennoxind.com. Send me an email, and I'll make sure that I'll send you the link for you to download a copy of the software. So let's get started, and we can go over this quite quick. So let me just go here and this way. All right, so once you open the software, you're gonna get the main window. So let's do new project. So let's click on new project, and on this version, on the latest version of our software, you're going to see that it now says certified and standard. So in a previous version, if you don't have the latest yet, you're gonna see that it says North America and Latin America. And especially for our Caribbean customers, it was a bit confusing because, Caribbean is not really Latin America. So we fixed this. That was a confusion on the developer, but we fixed it. And now it says certified and standard lineups. What is the difference? The certified, it has both AHRI and ETL. And the standard, we have ETL on the 220 and the 460 top discharge. Mainly for the Caribbean islands, and other countries, we use 220. And 380 because it's not a regular, it's not a normal voltage in the US, then ETL does not, in a sense, certify this product. They don't run this voltage through the labs. So that's the reason we don't have an ETL stamp on the units. However, this product has the same standard of manufacturing, the same standard on quality as the 220 and the 460. So we can guarantee that this is a very good product, and furthermore is gonna match the requirements for your application. So the standard product, like, it's the most popular product in our market, so I'm gonna choose standard. And then here we have 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz. So it depends on your market, you're gonna choose either or. I'm gonna, for the sake of just this example, I'm gonna stay on 60 Hertz. So you can fill out project name. I'm gonna set webinar March 18. Address or location, I'm gonna say Miami. The date is automatically populated, and you can put a contract number or a project number. I'm gonna say 123. You can also fill out a customer information, also the designer, the person doing the selection. You might as well, if you're the person in the company doing the selection all the time. So type in your name, fill out all the information, and then you can select save the information. So next time, if you're gonna do a selection, you can just click on the drop down menu, select your name, and everything will be populated at once. And here you can type in a comment if you like or not. Then I'm gonna say this is a test for a webinar on March 18, 2021. So once I'm done, I'm gonna click confirm. And now I'll go on to my selection window. So look at the top, we have several tabs, and it says indoor unit, outer unit, piping, wiring, central control, and report. So as you start selecting equipment and as you start going through the process, you will be able to switch from one tab to the other. And all the way at the top, we have the top menu. And here you have, if you want to do a new project, it's here. If you want to open a project, you can do it from here. You can edit it, you can save it, you can save as new project. You can go to settings, and here's one of the things that I suggest you change. You set before you do any projects, to change the units on which you work for your particular market. So I'm going to stay on Fahrenheit. Capacity, I'm going to stay on BTUs. Weight and volume, well, doesn't really apply much, but you can just keep it on pounds, I guess, for the refrigerant. The length, you can go to meters or feet. That's your choice. I'm going to stay on feet. For the piping diameter, you can go millimeters or inches. I'm going to stay on inches. And also for pressure, in inches of water gauge, and airflow and CFM. So you can do that, and you're going to click confirm. So those settings are saved for all your projects in the future. So once I'm done with my settings, I can go ahead and start selecting my product. So you can see the whole range of products at the top of the evaporator. So the first thing that we're going to choose is we're going to choose the evaporators. So I'm going to click on the super high ESP ducted units. Now, even if that's not what you need and you don't need to close this window, you can just simply go to the drop down and select a different model. So that's convenient for you to do. Now you're going to give it a name. The system will automatically assign by numbers, ascending numbers. But you can just, for example, say lobby. Or you can name it whatever you want. You can put a remark. You can say, I don't know, by the door. You know, this is a unit by the door, door 1. If the lobby has 2 doors, then you can say door 1 or door 2, or door left and door right. Your choice. I mean, this is just for you to fill out, so that way you give as much information to the contractor, to the installing contractor, so when they're looking at the report, they know what unit is referring to, because sometimes model numbers and CAN numbers, they don't mean anything to the contractor, but if you give them some comments, or this unit goes in this particular place, then he knows what to do with the unit. Well, hopefully he knows what to do with the unit. So here's the design conditions. Again, this is automatically assigning the software. You can change the design conditions. However, if you change the design conditions, it's going to affect the capacity of the unit. So I've done a previous webinar on how this works, design conditions. This is, this applies to different markets, a lot of variables to be considered. Again, we'll leave this topic for a different webinar, but keep this in mind that if you change the capacity, if you change the design conditions, you're going to have a change on the capacity of the indoor unit. So just to give you a brief summary, a brief explanation, when we test the units in a lab, we give some design conditions. So we test it and we say, okay, this unit is going to give you 12,000 BTUs under these conditions. But if you change the conditions, the unit will give you probably less, or even in some cases, it will give you more. So that's why the design conditions are important, because every market may have different conditions. So in some cases, the customer complains that the unit is not cooling. It's 12,000 and I selected for 12,000 and it's not cooling. But it's not cooling not because the unit is not doing its work, it's because the design conditions are different. So the unit, it affects the performance of the unit. But in any case, it's a whole bunch of information on Google, on YouTube that you can find that can further explain design conditions and all this. But anyway, I'm going to keep it as is, as a default, and then I'm going to choose the capacity. I'm going to say it's at 24,000 BTU cooling, 24 heating. I have to fill out both, even though you may not use heating in your market. You still have to fill out the heating information. You can assign a static pressure if you want. I'm not going to assign one yet. I'm going to also assign or enter the length of the piping between the outlet of my outdoor unit and my level of my evaporator. And you can see 3 graphs at the bottom. The first one is if the outdoor unit is above the evaporator, so in a sense on the roof and we're going down. The other one is that if the level on the same level, or if the condenser is in the bottom of the building and we're going up on the floor. So whatever the choice is, type it in, and then I'm going to put it on the roof, and I'm going to say that from the roof to my level is going to be 10 feet. You know, I'm talking about vertical distance. I'm not talking about total distance. I'm talking about vertical distance. So I'm gonna say 10 feet. And I'm gonna select add. So you can see in the back of my window, I see my unit, lobby, door on the left. This is my model, and here I have a whole bunch of information with specific to this unit. This is the dry bulb temperature, relative humidity, and then total capacity, actual capacity, required capacity, and so on and so forth. So that way, the software will generate all the information related to that unit. So I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna say this one is the door on the right. Same capacity. I'm gonna click add. So that way I can start adding units. I'm gonna switch to cassette, an 8-way cassette, and this one is gonna be offices, office 1, and I'm gonna choose 38,000, and it's still gonna be in the same level, so I'm gonna add it, and I'm gonna choose office 2, same capacity, add, office 3, add it, and now I'm gonna choose a high static for my conference room, and I'm gonna choose a 55,000 BTU unit, 55, and then add. Okay, so I'm getting an error because this unit is no longer in the system. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm having the GD instead of the HD. So let me just switch to the super high static, and here we go. We have the 55. All right. So add, cancel, and I'm gonna delete this one because I don't need it anymore. So delete it, and 2, 3, 4, 5. I can change the name of this one to 6 to keep it simple. And you start adding evaporators as you go, as you wish. So let's say your project has 50 evaporators. In most cases, what designers do is that they go through the list of the 50 evaporators, which you can do by all means. In my experience, when I use the software, sometimes I get confused with so many on the list, so I start adding by system. So my system 1 only needs 1, 2, 3, 6. So I select 6, and then I go and select the other units. Once I'm done with that system, I save, and I go back and select system 2. That's the way I do it, but you can do it whichever way you want. Let's say I'm gonna add more just to keep going on the list. I'm gonna add 12,000 BTU fan coils. I'm gonna add, I don't know, a whole bunch, 8, whatever. So cancel. So in a sense, what I'm saying is from here to here is gonna be my system 1, and from here to here is gonna be my system 2. And you can go on as many as you want. Again, you can add everything for your entire project, or as I said, you can go system by system, and we can do that also without any issues. So once I'm done with selecting my evaporators, I'm gonna go to auto unit. So look at the tab at the top, auto unit, and now I have my list of evaporators at the bottom of the screen here, and I'm gonna select my my auto units for this system. So add. So here I give it a name, system 1. I can change that if I want. Then I select my power supply, 230 3-phase, 380 3-phase, or 230 single phase. So because at the beginning we selected standard 60 Hertz, I'm getting only the 60 Hertz items. However, because our product is fully inverter, even if it's rated at 60 Hertz, it's also compatible in 50 Hertz. So it doesn't really matter your market. For our products, well, we still have the air handler, the vertical air handlers, and the high walls are still either 50 or 60. However, we do have a new generation of the high wall that are fully inverter, which is a DC motor, and the air handler on the certified product is also dual cycle, dual 50 and 60. So you can choose those as your options. But all right, so I'm gonna select the 233 phase. I want a heat pump, and I'm gonna select the regular, standard. Actually, I'm gonna go with the slim. I'm gonna show you the slim. It looks like a mini VRF. We go up to 10 tons, 6, 8, and 10 tons, and it's a much more affordable unit than the regular top discharge model. So that's for projects where you need a more economic option for your customer. They're actually easier to install. They are easier to service. So that's an option for some projects. So then I'm gonna select my first evaporator at the bottom, lobby, and then I'm gonna go to indoor 6, which is my system 1. I can add one at a time, just click and drag and start dragging here, one at a time. Or I'm gonna put it back. Where did it go? Oh, I went to the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna keep it here. Or what I can do is select the first one, press the key shift on your keyboard, and go all the way to 6, like you do on Excel. So now I selected 4 of those units, and I'm gonna drag and drop. So that way I select all my evaporators at once. So it seems that 3, 6, 9, 11, 13. So it seems that we won't be able to choose the side discharge. So let me just put this one back here. So I'm getting an X. So it means that the software was not able to choose a unit that will match this capacity. So I'm gonna go to manual selection, see what's going on. So when I go to manual selection, I see that I have a lower limit and I have an upper limit. So our units are designed to run the minimum capacity that it needs is 50%. So if I have a 10-ton system, the minimum capacity that I need on the evaporator is 5 tons. That's for capacity only, but for performance, for running, is as low as 10%. So the software has an automatic setting from 90 to 110, but we can go as low as 50% and as high as 135%. So it seems that we still don't have an option that we can match this selection, because on this unit we go up to 10 tons. So let me switch to, or actually let me go and change the evaporator. So let me remove one of these, maybe one of this. 3, 6, one more. Okay, there you go. So after removing 3 of those on my first system, I was able to select the unit that I wanted, and it's a side discharge 8-ton 223 phase system. And my diversity is 90.71%. So my diversity ratio is 90.71%. So I can do that. I can go and select this unit and confirm. Now I have my system 1. And then I can go ahead and select my system 2. So I'm gonna do the same, choose. I'm gonna select the missing units that are abandoned here for my system 1. I'm gonna select my slim models. I want to increase my diversity up to 135, so I'm able to choose my 10-ton slim model. So here's my system 1, here's my system 2. System 1 has a 96, system 2 has a 120, so an 8-ton and a 10-ton. So pretty much straightforward, nothing difficult here. I'm going to select my system 3, which is my remaining units. So I'm going to go from here to 16, drag and drop. Then it's a 3-phase and it's a regular top discharge condensing unit, and the system automatically selected the VP132, which is the 11-ton system, and it's giving me a 90% capacity. So I can just keep that if I want, or I can go ahead and change the diversity, make it a little higher, and select perhaps this one, the 120. The 132 we don't have in stock, but we do have the 120 in stock. So that way I can select according to what we can provide from our Miami stock, or even give a customer a better option, because obviously the 120 is less expensive than the 132,000 BTU unit. So once I've done that, then I'm ready to just confirm. And now I have system 1, system 2, and system 3. And you can see here where I have my evaporators, everything is empty. That means all my evaporators were assigned to one system, to one particular system. So once I've done that, then I'm ready to go to piping. So I go to my piping tab, and the system automatically selects what I call a linear selection. So, one branch, one evaporator, another branch, another evaporator. And if that's the way your project is set up, then it's just as easy as double clicking on a line and then start typing in information. So the piping length from my condenser to the first branch, I'm gonna say is 10 feet. How many elbows? I'm gonna say is 3. So next, now it highlights in blue the next line where I have to put the information. So I'm gonna do the same thing from my branch to my indoor unit. I'm gonna say it's 5 feet. Elbows, I'm gonna say it's 1. The next line, I'm gonna say 20 feet. 20 feet, no elbows. Then 3 feet, no elbows, and 9 feet and 2 elbows for the last one. And finish. So once I click finish, I get my branches, I get my diameters for the piping, I get the models of my branches, and I have my distances here and my number of elbows. And right at the bottom, I get how much additional refrigerant I need for this particular system. In this case, 1.71 pounds. So that's as easy as it can get. If I go to system 2, then I do the same. Or if it's not what I would call as a linear, well, even though it's very small to make any changes, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it here. But let me go to system 3. So maybe my system is not like a linear selection. So what I'll do is I click where it says reset here at the top of the screen. Reset. It says all the time will be reset. I click yes. So my evapes go to my waiting area, and now I'm on my design area. I'm gonna start adding branches and then adding evaporators as I go. So I go to the top, I select branch, drag and drop, and then drag and make sure you get the green check mark and then drop it there. If you don't get the green check mark, the system will not join the connection. So for example, one of the things we want to improve is be able to drag and drop straight to the X. Unfortunately, we don't have that feature yet. We're still working on that with the developer. So what you do is drag and drop on the design window, and then drag and drop to your spot, to your connection point. So you click and drop there, drag and drop there. So I'm gonna do the same for the next one. So let's say I'm gonna have sort of a tree, like a family tree kind of thing, and that's you start just adding and going as you need to for your project. And then I do the same with the evaporators. I'm gonna drag, drop, drag and drop, and make sure you get a green check mark. Next one, drag and drop. Next one, drag and drop, and so on. So once I'm done with my selection, then I have to start entering my distances. So I need 2 more, 1 and 2. So drag and drop. So once I'm done, then I get all my red lights. That means that I have to start entering information one line at a time. So same, double click, distance, so 20 feet, how many elbows, we'll say 3, and then just start going one at a time. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of an example, I'm just gonna go with 4 all the way, so that way we can make this faster. But you get the hang of it. You get what I'm trying to do here. So once I'm done, then my selection is done, and I get that I need 12.05 pounds of refrigerant for this particular system. Now you don't have to take notes on this because the report is going to show everything that we need for this particular project. So once I'm done, I'm not going to do the same with system 2 because you get familiar with what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to go to wiring. Wiring is only for illustration purposes. The way it does it is that as you do the selection of the piping, the system will give you an estimate of how much wire you need for your system. It's going to be the same distance as your total piping distance. So this is only for illustration purposes. But once you get to the project, you know that many things come around and you're gonna have to get creative. So again, this is only for illustration purposes. So I'm gonna go to central control. So I have 3 systems and I wanna add a central control for my 3 systems. So I'm gonna add a system. Central control, I click on the plus. Now I'm gonna drag my 3 systems that I wanna integrate with my central control. And then I'm gonna select the central control that I need for my 3 systems. So I'm gonna go with, this one says that the maximum is 32 units. This one is the small central control, also maximum 32 in the units. And this one is the biggest one, up to 255 evaporators. So I'm gonna choose the fancy looking one that I like, and I'm gonna drag and drop. So that's all I need to do. If I need only one central control for my 3 systems, that's all I do. Now, if I also want to add a central control for each particular system, you can do so. It's going to get expensive for your project, but that's, that's what the customer wants. You can do that as well. And I'm going to say I'm going to add the small one, this one, to system 1. And I can do also one here, and one here. If I don't need it here, then I can just put it back. Or put it back, and I'm just keep just one for system 1. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your systems. So you can click on this icon here on the right. It says wiring to give you an idea of what the wiring is going to look like. So we go from G1, G2 on my outer units, and then G1, G2 on the central controller, and I put my matching resistor, my matching resistance on at the central controller. This matching resistance is included with my with the central controller. So also each condensing unit has the matching resistance. It's 120 ohms. Don't lose it. Don't throw anything away in the package until you finish the installation. I always say the same because you have no idea how many times they have lost this, and they've been they have had to go out and find the resistor somewhere in a local store. So don't throw anything away. Just wait until the last minute, and then you can discard all your packages. But once you're done, I get familiar with my connection. So I go to report, and now I'm ready to select my report. So on the left, I see I want them all, so I can just select here and select them all, or I can only choose to generate a report for system 1. Maybe this is a staged project that at the end is going to have 3 systems, but for now we're going to start only with system 1, so I can just generate a report for system 1. Or if you want them all, you can just select them all. That's really your choice. I'm going to select where to save it. I'm going to save it on my desktop, and I'm going to give it a name, and the name of this project is Test March 18. So once I'm done, I'm going to select the type of report, or type of document, the type of format that I want for my report. So I always suggest you use an Excel file. Why an Excel file? Because on a Word document, in my opinion, it's a little bit more troublesome, because if you have to find a section of your report, you have to scroll up and down and try to find where the section is. As opposed to with an Excel file, you have tabs for each particular section, so you can just easily go from one tab to the other and quickly go from one section to the other, the section that you want to look at. So my suggestion is to generate the Excel report. You do generate a generic CAD drawing that's going to help you if you need AutoCAD. I don't have AutoCAD on this computer, so I won't work on that at the moment. So once I'm done, select Excel, and I'm going to click Export right here, Export. So click on it, and then Excel is going to open, and it's gonna show me my report. Takes a few seconds while it loads, and okay, once it's done, I'm gonna put it on full screen, and here is my report, and it says covered. Here you see at the bottom all the tabs for this report. So again, you can easily switch from one to the other, as opposed to on a Word document that you have to scroll up and down until you find it. So covered is the front page, then table of contents, some abbreviations, and here's where the fun starts. So project proposal. So these are the units for my entire project, for my 3 systems. So this is what I would quote to the project if it's a, from the get-go, it's a 3-system installation. So you're gonna quote all this. This is my product. Here I have my branches. Here's my controllers. Now, keep in mind that all our units do include some type of controller in the box. All the ducted units include a wire control. All the ductless units include a wireless control. So you'll have to purchase the controller separate. It's already included in the box. Now, if for a ductless unit you need a wired control, then you do have to purchase that separate. If for your ducted unit you want a wireless control, you have to purchase a wireless control separate. So keep that in mind. Here also is going to help you, this table is going to help you for how much pipe you need, diameters and distances. So we don't sell copper, but that's for you to be able to quote your customer. And here is how much refrigerant and how much cable you're going to need for this particular project as well. So these 2 tables will also help you quote and give a project quote to your customer, including materials as well. Then we go to system 1. This is the side discharge that we chose, the model, the type, capacities, all the information related to the outdoor unit. Here is the information related to the evaporators. Here's the piping, how much piping I'm using. And this is system 1 proposal. So again, if it's a stage project and you have to quote one at a time, then you can just go to this tab, system 1 proposal, and this is the units that you're gonna need only for system 1. So you can present a quote, one system independently from the other. Here's the elbows, and here's the piping and refrigerant and cable. And then you go to the piping diagram, the same that we saw on the selection software, then the wiring diagram, and then we go to system 2. And you can just go to all the other tabs and do the same for system 2 and system 3. So that's it. That's it for the selection software. I'm gonna minimize this quick. Here is my file. Make sure you save. So save project. So save and save on your desktop. And I'm gonna save it as test March 18. And it saves as a VRFX file. So saved. Now make sure you save it, because if you don't save it, then you're gonna lose all your selections. I should have said that at the beginning, start saving your project, but all right. Let's say you have to make some changes, so you can go to indoor units. Here's where you have your indoor, then now you have to add more units, so you can easily start adding. I'm gonna add my high walls, 12,000 BTUs. I'm gonna add some of those, and then cancel. So now it says that I have an exclamation mark, and I get a comment at the bottom that says the unit is not connected to an air conditioning system. So these units do not have a matching condensing unit, so I have to go to outdoor units and then click on the plus, drag and drop, and I can select my single phase because I want to choose a mini VRF single fan, 48,000 BTUs, and confirm. So now I have my system 4 here, and I do the same piping, wiring for my system 4, piping for system 4. I can add it to the central controller, put it here, and just add my report and select system 4 and generate the report again for this system. So that's what I have for you. If you have any questions, let me check the chat. There's nothing in the chat, so I would like to, if you're participating, I'd like to know where you're connecting from. Again, if you don't have a copy of the selection software, send me an email. It's Jonathan Miranda at Lennox IND, Jonathan.Miranda at Lennox IND. Send me an email, and I'll make sure I send you a link for you to download a copy of the software. Now, if there is no questions, I want to say thank you. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining this webinar, and I hope to see you the next time. Have a good one.